Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. Now some of you are going to be confused and some of you are going to be watching one of my videos for the first time ever, and that is good because this video is going to get uploaded on two different channels at the same time. First and foremost, it's going on my KT1 channel, which I have been using to cover Marvel Construct Champions and everything in relation to that game and Marvel and all the news covering it, so on and so forth. And I have spent the last couple of years doing that, and I have had great amount of fun, and I have put in a lot of effort in that. And second, it's gonna go on my brand new channel, Critical Thinking One, which is something new, something that I have been wanting to do for over a year now, but always talked myself out of, always had too much self-doubt to do it. And today I have decided to take the plunge in it. And let me explain to you exactly why. On my KT1 channel, I do live stream a lot. And much more often than not, these live streams turn out to be about many more different subjects than just Marvel Construct Champions. We're talking about recent news, social events, political opinions, be that movies, be that anything else. And a lot of times it just ends up being me trying my best to give a decent, good advice to the people who are coming and seeking it out. And that is exactly why I want to create a second channel, because that is something that I personally find very important. And I do want to try and help out as many people as I possibly can with a good advice, with a different point of view, and most importantly, with being able to teach people how to think for themselves. Fact of the matter is, who am I to tell you what to think? But I'm not going to tell you what to think. I'm going to try my best to teach you how to think for yourself. I don't know whether I'm always right. I don't know whether I should be the person saying you these things. What I do know is that debate, disagreement, and discussion are all positive and good things if you conduct them properly. What I do know is that only way to grow is to take in new information, and for you to be able to do that, you need to see people with different points of view without immediately dismissing them. Just because somebody doesn't think like you do doesn't mean that you can't be good friends with them, doesn't mean that they are automatically wrong and you're right, and it doesn't mean that both of you don't have plenty of merit, and perhaps, just perhaps, the actual objective truth or the best conclusion is somewhere in the middle of your both opinions. What I'm getting at is that we are living in the most connected society ever. There is bigger and greater access to information than it has ever been in our lifetimes or in the history of this world. And that is a beautiful thing. We can make ourselves better. It's like a superpower. If you travel back 50 years, with the technology that you have available today, you would be a superhero. You could be a Marvel hero. You'd be the smartest man alive and so capable. And that's wonderful. But it comes with a cost. And that cost is our time, our attention, because our attention span's limited. We can't pay attention to everything. And often, unfortunately, we choose very poorly what we care about. We have access at times to too much information. And because we have access to all of that, that means more people have access to us, more people have access to the way we think, and more people have more control over our own lives. And that is extremely important to understand. Despite objectively this being the best time to be alive in the history of the planet, because we have more comforts, more ability, and more capability than we have ever had, it does not necessarily mean that we are happier than we have ever been. It doesn't mean that we are living more fulfilled and satisfied lives than we have had. And why is that? It's because not everything that's out there is necessarily good for you, and it's important to spot these things. It's important to spot these trends that somebody might be trying to inflict upon you. And the most important thing with that is learning to think for yourselves. As a community, as a general population, I believe we are as divided as we have ever been. We are as polarized as we have ever been. We are as oversaturated with our own egos and personal ambitions as we have ever been. The idea that we are wrong and some things that we have being told are not true are unacceptable. to many people, and many of us are willing to follow blindly random people who in reality we should be not putting our trust into. And that is why this channel, because I don't want you to accept everything that I say as ultimate truth. I don't want you to believe me when I say something. I want you to think about the things that I said, whether you agree with them, whether you don't agree with them, and why is that. And ultimately, by end of it, I do want you to improve your ability to make judgments and form your own opinions for yourself, by yourself. And that is exactly why I want to create this second channel. Because I feel that we are not becoming happier. I feel that many of us are having more and more mental and emotional and psychological problems because of the world that we are living in, because of the direction that we're being pushed in. I myself realized a couple days ago that I'm not as confident as I used to be. A couple of years ago, before this whole pandemic started, I was a different person. I didn't realize that I had changed things about myself, but I did. Right now, when I walk down the street, I pay much more attention to people who are walking across to me. I'm paying much more attention to whether they look poorly or not. And even though all the restrictions are being lifted in the UK, it still seems extremely weird. I'm much more on the edge when I'm outside, and I cannot fully relax anymore. I don't feel as safe outside as I used to. And that is just one of the things how last couple of years have affected many of us. I have spoken with students who are having a hard time academically. I have spoken with young men who are having troubles motivating themselves, returning back to work, or trying to, I don't know, go dating again. And many things like that have become different all of a sudden. The world has become different. And even as we're going to be moving past this one thing, the world is still changing. A lot of people are valuing their social media accounts over their family relationships. Your Facebook account is demanding more attention from you than your siblings or your parents. And all of that, to me, instinctively, just feels wrong. And I do think that it's best if we take advantage of all of that this life offers to us. But it's also important to remember that we are not robots. We have our own emotional needs, even if we don't want or need to acknowledge them. That we have things that matter more than our digital lives and all of this comfort. And I do think that part of personal growth is putting yourself out of your comfort zone and reaching out to people and trying to understand why you do the things you do, why you think the way you do. And again, I'm not going to be telling anybody what to think. I'm not going to ever be trying to speak to anyone from a point of authority. I think like this, that's why you should think like that. Now I'm going to say, I think like this because these are the things that I believe, these are the values that I look at, and, you know, these are the conclusions that I'm coming to. You can come to your own conclusions looking at the same information, and it will be different to all of us because each and every single one of us are a total sum of all of our experiences and decisions that we have made. All of the things that we have learned, all of the decisions that we have made is who makes it, is what we are when we boil it down to the essence. And all of us are unique. As a last point, I wanted to point out that we are more divided as people. We are being pushed into these groups. You think like that, and that means you can't talk to people that doesn't think like that. You look like that, you don't talk to people like that. You look like that, or you do that, and that means that this is where you belong. ultimately, I don't believe that at all. I believe that each and every single one of us is different. I do believe that each and every single one of us is much more than 1, 2, or 3 things about us. And I do believe that tongue twister. Sorry, English is not my first language. I do believe that being an individual is the most beautiful and important thing in this life. I do think that we have a lot of people, we have many things common with, we have a lot of differences, but ultimately there are no two people exactly alike. And that's beautiful, because you're different from me, and I'm different from you. And that should be celebrated. I hope I have convinced you guys to hit that subscribe button, and there will be more videos coming out this week. I will try to upload several videos a week, and I will do my best to make this channel a success and to bring and create a new community that feels wholesome, that does include anyone who wants to be here. And it will be my honor if you are a part of it. And see you soon, hopefully.